When we ask, did Jesus Christ really exist? We step into one of the most debated questions in human history. But the real answer may not be as simple as yes or no. From a historical perspective, there likely was a man known as Jesus of Nazareth. Roman historian Tacitus refers to the execution of Christus under Pontius Pilate. Jewish writings, attributed to Josephus, also mention a figure named Jesus, though parts are debated. These sources suggest that a real person may have lived, a teacher, a reformer, a spiritual voice in a turbulent time. But the story we know today, it was written decades later, which means what we're reading is not just history, it's history shaped by narrative, by theology, and possibly by symbolism. Because when we step back and look closely, the story of Jesus begins to follow a much older pattern, a pattern found across ancient civilizations, Egypt, Persia, and beyond. A pattern found across ancient civilizations, Egypt, Persia, and beyond. A divine figure born under extraordinary circumstances with 12 followers who dies and is resurrected. This archetype repeats, and many believe it reflects something ancient cultures studied deeply, not just religion, but the sky itself, the sun. To the ancient world, the sun was life. It governed time, seasons, survival, and naturally, it became sacred. Every day, the sun dies at sunset and is reborn at dawn. Every year, it reaches its lowest point at the winter solstice. For 3 days, it appears to stand still. Then it rises again, a rebirth of light. And this is where the parallels sharpen. Jesus is called the light of the world. He is associated with the same period of solar rebirth, and he has 12 disciples, mirroring the 12 signs of the Zodiac that mark the sun's journey through the year. But the symbolism goes even deeper, because the structure of the story itself reflects natural cycles. There are 4 Gospels: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, each with a distinct tone, a different perspective. Traditionally, they are symbolized by 4 figures: the man, the lion, the ox, and the eagle. These symbols align with the 4 fixed signs of the Zodiac: Aquarius, Leo, Taurus, and Scorpio. But they also mirror something even more familiar: the 4 seasons. Matthew reflects beginnings and fulfillment, like spring, a time of renewal. Mark is fast-paced, intense, and urgent, like summer, full of energy and action. Luke emphasizes compassion and sacrifice, like autumn, the season of harvest and transition. John is abstract, philosophical, and deeply spiritual, like winter, a time of stillness and reflection. This suggests something profound, that the story of Christ is not just about events, but about cycles. Cycles of nature, of time, and perhaps of human consciousness. Even the cross carries deeper meaning. Beyond its historical use, it represents an intersection, a point of balance. Some interpret it as a cosmic symbol, marking the relationship between the sun's path and the structure of the heavens. And then there's the human body. Because ancient traditions didn't just look outward, they looked inward. At the center of the brain lies the pituitary gland, a small but powerful structure often called the master gland. It regulates hormones, growth, and essential bodily functions, maintaining balance within the body. But symbolically, its central position has led many traditions to associate it with higher awareness. In this view, what is called Christ is not just a historical figure, but a state of consciousness. The story begins to shift. The crucifixion becomes the struggle of the human condition. The death becomes the surrender of the ego. The resurrection becomes awakening, and the ascension becomes the elevation of awareness. Just as the sun rises after darkness, so can consciousness. So, did Jesus Christ really exist? Historically, there is evidence to suggest a man did. But the story that surrounds him may also be something more, a fusion of history and symbolism, of celestial patterns and human experience, a story written not only in text, but in the sky, in nature, and within us. So maybe the better question is not did he exist, but instead, what does the story reveal? Because whether seen as a man, a myth, or a cosmic code, the message remains that light follows darkness, and that alignment with truth, with nature, with awareness may have been the real teaching all along. And maybe that was the meaning from the very beginning.